Gen X and Gen Y. The difference between these groups of people is very big in their thinking about education and about work. So, for example, if you're my age, if you're a boomer, like I am, then our goal in life, for the most of us, was to work for a corporation. That was our goal. We went to university so we could get a job with a corporation, and the bigger the corporation, the better it was for our career. We thought the working for the big company was a very good thing. And we would stay with this company for a long time. Maybe our whole career, we will work for this one company. But that began to change with Gen X. And Gen X has a little different attitude, and in America, they don't care about staying with the company for a long time. They just want a lot of money. So they ask the corporation to pay me a lot of money, and if you do not pay me, I will work for another company. So there's constantly changing their job all the time. So in America, the turnover rate is very high for Gen X. And they will come to the HR manager and say, I need 10% more money. And if you don't give it to me, I will go work for this company. And so usually the HR manager says no, and they leave and go to the other company. So this is a big problem in the U.S. right now. But then Gen Y is even different. Gen Y, first of all, most of them do not want to work for a company, a big company. They want to work for themselves. There's a lot of entrepreneurism in Gen Y. So they say, I will start my own company, I will start my own business. I don't want to work for a big company. And if I work for a company, a small one is better, because I have more opportunity to do things in a small company. I can be more useful in a small company. When I am a very large company, nobody even knows me. I am just a very small person. But in a small company, I'm big, I'm important, and I can be well known. So Gen Y doesn't want to work for big companies. Many of them don't want to work for any company. They want to work for themselves. And they have many different ideas about education. They want to learn all the time. They want to have lots of opportunity to study and to learn, especially on the job, or while they're working, they want to learn. Not so much maybe go back to the university, but to work in the company, to learn in the company. So we have the generations. Then in America, many people are now consultants or contractors with companies. They don't want to work as employees. This is another issue that we have. Then there's also this whole demographic issue. Not so big in Malaysia yet, but coming, where populations are getting smaller. And if you look at Japan, the population in Japan is actually going down. If you look at Italy, the population is going down. If you look at most of Europe, the population is declining. Russia is declining. So in many parts of the world, the population is actually going to become smaller. China and India are about level now, about level. So you look around the world and you say, where will all the workers come from? We're not going to have enough people to do all the work that we need to do, especially true in Europe and Japan and other countries like that. And then there's fewer young people being born. The birth rate is very low in many countries. It's not so bad in Malaysia, I know. But if you look at Singapore, it's very low in Singapore. It's very low in Japan and other places. So these countries have a problem. And where do you think Singapore will get its workers from? Malaysia, that's right. And where do you think India will get its workers from? Malaysia. And the same for other countries. Even the U.S. and Europe will get its workers from other places. So we live in a global world. And you can work many different places in your life. So even though you have no problem with birth rate in Malaysia, you will probably have difficulty to keep them in Malaysia. Because they don't want to go work in other countries and other places. Or maybe they will work on the computer, even though they are here, but they will work for some company in some other place. So this is a big problem there. Also, the college enrollments are down in many places in the world. The number of students going to college is coming down, especially for men. More women are college, but fewer men are going to college right now. And nobody knows why. I guess maybe men are limited, I don't know. But the men don't want to go to college, and the women are going to college in many numbers. In fact, in the U.S., within 2 or 3 years, 60% of all the diplomas will be given to women. 60%. So there's a big increase in the number of women and a decrease in the number of men. But even with that, the total number going to school is less. So you have less going to school, and it is very difficult to find a qualified engineer or scientist or doctor or nurse. Very difficult to find these people now in most countries in the world. And if you go to almost any country I name, New Zealand, Australia, the Netherlands, America, Canada, we have a shortage of all of these kinds of people. And so they will look to you to get these people if you have them. Okay? So if you are graduating scientists and engineers, many companies will recruit them to go and work for them. So the challenge for every company is how do you keep your workforce, how do you keep it, and how do you make it more educated and more able to do the work that you have to do. This is the challenge that every corporation in the world faces today. So if you're a CEO, if you think about, you are the head of the company, and if you think about what is going to cause me to not be able to grow my company. If it was 100 years ago, the reason you could not grow your company was probably the raw material. You couldn't get iron, or you couldn't get the steel, or whatever it was to start your company. For the last 30 or 40 years, the thing that has limited your growth has been what? Money. Where do I get the money to grow my company? Where do I get the capital to invest? But now we have many sources of capital. We have the World Bank, we have governments that provide money, we have many entrepreneurs and venture capitalists, private investors who give money. Money is not a problem. So if you have a good idea, you can get the money, you can get the materials that you need. What is hard to get? The people. Where do you get the people to do your product, to make your product, or to design your product? So most CEOs in the world are very nervous today. If you talk to the head of General Electric or Motorola or any of the large companies, say, what makes you stay awake at night? What are you afraid of the most? And the answer is not enough skilled people. Not enough skilled people to make my products or design my products. This is the real challenge of the 21st century. I believe myself that the biggest challenge every country will face is educating people. That is the biggest challenge for the next 20 years. And the corporations must help in this process. They can't do this. The government cannot do this by itself. The schools cannot do this by itself. The corporations are going to have to develop this education capability if they are going to remain successful. So I think, these are just some of the things they say. What's going to limit me from growing my company? If I want to move my company, let's say I want to move my company into Singapore. What's my problem? Finding the workers to work in my company. If I want to move my company into the United States, what's my problem? Finding the workers to work in my company. They're not there. And even if you can find them, they're very expensive, or they will leave easily for more money. So how do I keep these people in my company? This is a big challenge.